All right, here we go. Here we go. It is time to get started, right? Well, we are live on the YouTube side. I'll hit record here in a second. I'm going to turn down the music here.
Listen to the old stream beats.
Yeah, man. Always.
Make sure Harris Heller gets his pennies off you this month.
Yeah, he's got to. You know, he's got to get it. Got to get them pennies. I gotta support him somehow.
Billions of pennies. It must be tough.
What is $150 million in pennies?
Well, yeah, 150,000. You just add
150,000.
Yeah, so it'd be 15 million pennies.
15 million pennies.
It's a lot of pennies. I'd take that many pennies. Now, somebody
Where
out
would you
there,
store
real quick.
Where would you
store?
store?
How much 15 million pennies weigh?
Yeah, I was gonna say, where would you store 15 million pennies?
I don't know, man. A pool? It's probably more than a pool would hold.
It's a great question.
Right? I don't even have a weight guess. 10 tons. That's my guess. All right.
Ready hold
when
on.
You are.
No, we're gonna figure this out. We're gonna figure this out before we even get started. Before I even hit record, we're gonna figure out how much does a penny weigh.
There you go.
How much does a penny weigh? A penny has 2.5 grams. So 2.5 grams times 15 million is 45 million grams. So 45 million grams to pounds is almost 10,000 pounds. It's almost 5 tons.
Okay. I've doubled up.
It's 99. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. I did that wrong. That's 99,000 pounds.
Oh, okay. That's
a
lot more than.
almost 50 tons.
That's a lot of pennies, man.
15 million pennies would be almost 50 tons. There you go. There's the math.
I want to be the guy that pulls up to a bank with dump trucks full of pennies. Like, have you ever get these rolled?
Mr. Beast gave 1 million pennies to his 1 millionth sub. I did not know that, but that's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
That makes sense. That sounds like that's something right up his alley.
Yeah, that sounds like a YouTube video, right? That sounds like one of his things.
So that's what? That's 10 grand he gave. It's not bad.
All right, we ready?
All right, or 100 grand. Sorry. Yeah.
All right,
let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another magical What the Wednesday with your hosts, Dusty the Game Hopper, and myself, Chris the My Guy. Just ready to go for another week here. I'm not at a loss of words, but really trying to decide on how to... Should we talk about Valentine's Day? Should we not talk about Valentine's Day? Should we enjoy the...
forever.
I mean, I know. That's what I was going to say. I feel like we haven't even talked in like
since last What the Wednesday.
Is it really since last? Yeah, basically
pretty
since
much,
last Wednesday.
Like.
Yeah, with the cat being in the hospital, traveling for yeah. I mean, he came home yesterday, so that was actually why Monday's stream was canceled, because I brought him home.
Gotcha.
You know, I was dealing with all that and dealing with getting back from camping and Valentine's Day and all kinds of stuff.
Events.
Yeah, it was a fun few days for this past week. I feel like I've been completely disconnected. Discord has been all over the place, but it's okay. It's okay. Thank you.
It's always waiting for you. That's the beauty of it.
Hey, I was going to say, Dusty, thank you for being very active in my Discord for me while I was kind of AFK. So
happy to help, man.
Other than that, how was your weekend? How was the tail end of last week?
Valentine's Day as a single dude, always good times. So I was hanging out, playing with buddies online all day long, which was awesome. So nice little collection of people, met some new friends and stuff like that. So it was fun. Otherwise same old. Weather down here in Florida is absolutely thriving while the rest of the country is freezing. I'm sorry, anybody out there. God bless all the people who are dealing with no power and water and stuff like that in Texas and whatnot. But no complaints here. The Florida life, we're still the sunshine state for a reason.
Yeah, I haven't heard. So my brother lives in Texas, and I haven't heard from him yet. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing yet. I haven't been able to get in touch with him. I mean, we don't talk all that often, but it's still one of those like odd things to kind of when things like
For
this
sure.
when things like this go down, I usually hear something from him or something. But
Yeah, right. Like when we get hurricanes down here, that's when family calls to check in.
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
Yeah. It's just another day and a
Yeah.
little windy, but
so
I have family that's doing all right up there. They still have power and stuff. Like having friends and stuff who live nearby that have been out of power come over and stuff to stay warm. So, which is so weird to hear in Texas. You don't think of like going somewhere to stay warm in Texas.
I know. You just assume
it's a weird year.
You just assume Texas is like every other, like Florida in that example, right? Like you just assume Texas is what it is, and that's the way it goes, right? And you don't expect it to be cold.
Apparently not. But they're not prepared for it too. But which makes it worse when it happens.
I just found out my in-laws up in the Maryland area are going to have a couple inches of snow tomorrow. Woo. and our high is like 80 something degrees.
Oh yeah, it's gonna get up to like 86 again tomorrow.
I'm like, okay, whatever. We're just gonna do whatever and just deal with it as we do. Florida's like Florida's going through a hot flash because then again, on Saturday it's gonna be back down in the 50s or something like that. Yeah. So yeah, Florida's going through menopause.
Jeez, that's one way to put it. Yeah, you had a good weekend.
Yeah. So we did the camping trip this weekend. Valentine's Day was spent in the camper. Nice. But it was a good time. We had a lot of fun. The weather was pretty terrible, but I mean, we still enjoyed it with each other, family and all that kind of stuff. So it was a good time.
Good.
So
that's what it's all about anyways, spending time with family.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to necessarily be loved ones, like a partner and stuff like that. A whole family counts, guys.
So, oh yeah. My in-laws send Valentines for the kids. Jamie, they all get it. So I mean, it's
all the chocolates.
Oh yeah, and I eat it all. It's always great for me. I love holidays. I love holidays. Being a dad on holiday is like all the free candy you can think of.
Right, especially like Halloween, you get all the stuff the kids don't want.
Oh my gosh, there isn't. My kids don't eat candy, so I get it all. Well, it's great.
Even better, yeah. Well played.
So
things to look forward to someday, I guess.
So, rolling in this week, we had a lot of discussion, and it happened, again, over the past couple of days in Discord. There's been a lot of discussion and a lot of traction on Harris Heller and Ludwig's previous conversations about top things from streamers, top things going on, and just like advice and tips and things like that. Ludwig's kind of getting into this, like, not self-help, but this like motivational speaker kind of attitude or mentality and starting to go through this, right? So we wanted to kind of do that same process ourselves, right? So Harris put out a video the other day of, it was them going back and forth, and I don't know if they covered five things or not in their discussion, but there's some that I agree with, some that I think, wouldn't be my top 5 things. But, I wanted to have our own opportunity to say the 5 things, as a smaller channel, right? 5 things.
We have a different perspective for sure.
Exactly. So the 5 things we wish we knew before we started streaming, right? So I'm gonna open the floor for you on the first one here. I've got 5 in a notepad here, and I'm gonna open the floor for the.
Then.
I was trying to have something.
Always more prepared than me for all these guys, in case you couldn't tell. So you want me to start with one?
Yeah. What's your?
I don't. What were the 5? Do you remember their 5 specific? Just I don't want to try to overlap too much. But,
I don't remember. Just go ahead and go ahead and hit anything, and we'll go off of that.
Me personally, when I first started, one of the things, if I could go back now and do it again, that I've since changed, I would start with a schedule from day one. I was one of those people that I was kind of figuring out, like I decided I wanted to and was like, this is going to become a cool serious thing for me, and we're going to do it all the time. So it just became hey, I'd turn on a game, turn on a stream, and it was all over the place. And because of that, I never really saw any traction, or, if people even asked in chat, like, oh, when can I find you again? It's like, well, I don't know, whenever I'm playing games again next. Follow me and you'll get notifications, which we all know how reliable those can be. So the first thing I would definitely change would be set schedule, because it makes it easier for you to wrap your head around what you're doing, gives you time to do other stuff as well, and then gives your viewers a time that they know they can find you.
So I would agree. I would take that one step further, and it is one item that I think that they did cover, and I'm going to word it like this: is plan out every piece of content you try to create. Right? Whether it be a tweet, whether it be YouTube content, whether it be streaming content, right? Try to plan out every piece of content you create. And that goes very in line with having a set schedule and knowing, having an idea of what the intention of what you're trying to stream before you hit go live. I know I talk to a lot of people that I want to say I counsel or mentor, or however you want, there's a lot of people that come and ask questions and things like that, and they ask me about, streaming tips and things like that. And through that whole process, those are some of the basic things, like set a schedule, do this, right? And those are the things that I think everybody says, but it can go one step further than that. Like, even if you have a set schedule and you're going to go live, like we start the podcast at 9 p.m. Like when I know that I'm going live at 9, I know that we're going to talk about something related, like we have to have a topic for the podcast set up in advance.
True.
Even if you're just streaming a game, you should be doing that same concept. There's another content creator that another streamer that I've been watching. And his gamer tag is, what is it? It's Campbell Soup. Campbell King, or I'm drawing. I've rated to him once or twice before, and I've really enjoyed his content. And one of the things that I love about his content is he has an idea that's separate from the game, and it's something that they start like a topic about in the Discord or something like that. And he kind of carries the conversation while he's playing the game. He carries on this conversation about this idea. Like one of the things for the past month in his stream, at least since I've been coming in, they've been talking about starting their own commune. And it's silly. Like it's not serious, but it's silly. And he's like, "Oh, we're gonna start our own commune, and to fund our commune, we're gonna grow chickens, and then on the chicken farm, we're gonna open a chicken restaurant, and we're gonna call it Pecker Parts, right? And we're gonna like." Right, and it's just this. It's just a great name. Right, it's just this running gag, but it's something that when you're sitting there in chat, it's something to talk about, and people make jokes about different. People make jokes about Pecker Parts and like all these other things, and it's something to give you an idea. And so all of his content, like for the past month or whatever, kind of has been driven around the idea of like, hey, we're building a commune. What would you put in the commune, right? And things like that, and it gives people things to talk about. Yeah, exactly. So it's something that kind of just keeps conversation rolling, which I think is a very vital part. Like I said, there's a lot of people who just hit go live. There's a lot of people who hit go live. I'm going to play a game and I'm going to talk to chat. Well, that's nice. And I love the idea. And if you have a very active chat, that works. But there's going to be those days where people are going to come into chat and they're not going to want to. You're going to ask them how. Yeah, well, you're going to be like, how's your day? Right? And they're going to say good. Right? There's no story behind it. There's nothing to drive it. They're just going to say good. And then you're going to say, okay. That's great. My day was whatever, but it doesn't really drive. I mean, it can drive conversation sometimes, but it doesn't always work. So you need something else. If that's not driving conversation, you need something else there to kind of keep a story in rotation or something like that.
Yeah. I always try so hard to never do one-word answers with things like that. Because, that takes you back to the days of, like, you come home from school as a kid, and your parents ask, how was school? Fine. Okay. You learn anything? Yeah. We never really dove into stuff much. I mean, at least I didn't as a kid. So I like that. And I want to actually say, there was a streamer I watched who his thing was, he had a question of the day. And it was just right there at the bottom of his screen. It'd be silly stuff like, what's your favorite smell? Stuff like that. And again, somebody comes in and it creates conversation point where, they come in and say, pie and different stuff like that. And then creates a little bit of an engagement, and you can do that with each and every viewer that comes by, so it's cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go. Well, that kind of tied in my number one as well, or something. But just make sure, guys, plan every piece of content. If you're going to here's a really cool trick, and I'm going to add on to it, actually. I'm going to add on to it just a little bit here. Really cool trick I like to think of is, like, that same concept is tie your content together. You know, I've always talked about, on these podcasts, we've always talked about build a brand, make sure that your content flows, make sure that you're kind of staying on brand. Well, that's fine. You know, if you're going to have it about, again, if you're going to have it about gaming, totally fine. That's a huge driven piece of content. That's a huge thing to get attraction. That's a huge thing to get eyes. But if you want to play a new game, play it off stream for 2-3 hours, get some cool clips, get some cool highlights, create a couple TikToks days in advance, create a YouTube video days in advance, put out a few tweets, and then say, I'm going to play a brand new series live on this day, right? I'm going to start a brand new storyline on this day. Come check it out, right? And then you drive some interest in this new game from your other feeds that kind of go back into what you're about to go live for, right? Tie your content together, make it fit, again, make every piece of content matter.
Yeah, I can agree with that too, because I know there's some people I watch where, they're playing something and whatever the game may be, and then they hit a point where they switch and it's like, what do we do now? And it's like they're asking chat because they don't even know what to do next. And I don't know, that just feels like a weird thing for me. So I like the idea of planning stuff and knowing what you're going to do and especially creating the drive for people to come watch. And then it lets you know a little bit more about the game too, so you're more knowledgeable if people ask questions.
Right. So my second one, or my first one, whichever way we're going to tie this in.
Let's go number 2. We'll call it number 2.
Go number 2. There you go. Number 2.
Need assistance for
number 2. There you go.
All right.
Number 2 is, I would say a very important thing is to know the culture of the platform you're streaming on. We've talked about this in the past that there's a lot of people who they may be Twitch viewers, they may watch streams every once in a while, but there's a lot of people who watch big streamers, or they know about big streamers because of the games or YouTube content, but they don't really get to know Twitch culture. Right? They don't really get to engage with a lot of viewers. They don't really engage with multiple pieces of or multiple streamers in general. And then they go back and they're like, I could do this. I could stream. I could be a great streamer. I'm going to do this, right? I've got the equipment. I'm really good at games, et cetera, right? So they're going to go do it. And that's totally fine. But, maybe spend a little more time getting to know these smaller channels before you do hit that go live button.
That's a good
one. Take time to engage, connect, spend whatever, we kind of talked about it. I think we had an idea that if I were to start over, this is what I would do. And I think that's when we talked about this before, right? Spend a month on the times you would normally be going live, or like an hour before you'd go live and maybe an hour after, or, however you can fit that into your schedule. And spend some time getting into other streams, talking to some people, getting connected in some Discords, things like that. And then when you finally go live, you have people who know your username already. You people who have connected with you. You've built up friends in the Twitch culture already that have allowed you to do that. And we've talked before how Kick Metallic was a great example of that. How he got affiliate the fastest possible. It was 7 days or something, and he was affiliate because he was averaging 15 viewers on his first stream, or in his first three streams or whatever, because he's spent almost a year just hanging out with people and playing games with people without even streaming himself. And that in itself is a great way to just get yourself started and getting connected to the community and the culture.
I like that one. Yeah, that's definitely springboarding with that a little bit. Just adding my piece, I guess. I think a lot of people too, what they do when they, like you said, the viewers who watch the big streams, they watch what they do and how they do it, and then they think that that's the behavior to replicate when they first start. I think it's very different to be a successful smaller streamer as you're growing than being a successful streamer as a large content creator like those with 10,000 or so in their channel. Where I know for me, in my early days, I was playing lots of games like Apex and things like that, which there's nothing wrong with that. But I would miss a lot of moments to interact with my chat, my community. Keep trying not to say chat. Failing at that a lot lately. To talk with the people coming into my channel, because I'm playing a game that requires so much focus. And I really think as a small streamer, you really need to focus more on the engagement with your viewers, and that's how you're going to get those like 5 to 10 regulars in the early goings that are going to keep coming back because they enjoy interacting with you, not just watching you play games.
Sure, makes sense. So it's kind of a tough one. Like the engaging viewer part. It's super vital in the very beginning. It really is. Yeah. And I think people take for granted that by a long shot. I think there's a lot of people who are just like, I'm just going to get on and play games and I'm just going to have fun. And totally admirable idea, totally admirable concept. Go do it, right? Like have some fun, but make sure you make it fit, right? Like make sure that you're not just spending time not focused on the streaming part, right? I made a video in 2019 about how to put stream chat on your screen because
if you have one monitor.
Yeah, if you have one monitor. And I made that video because of the fact that, that was a hard thing for me when I first started doing it, because it was just a way for me to stay focused, or I couldn't stay focused because I would forget to look over at my second monitor, and I had to put chat on top of me. Otherwise, I wouldn't even see it for a long time. And it was a huge thing for me in the very beginning.
Yeah, no, because like you said too, with knowing your audience, or knowing the platform in that sense, where as a small streamer, somebody is usually looking for a small streamer when they find you. Unless you're playing like a game, that only has like 4 or 5 live channels, so you're right there in the top line. Most people are coming to look for a smaller content creator because they're looking for that personal engagement, because they know if they type something in the chat window, you're going to see it and have an opportunity to respond, unlike the ones with 20,000 people where you type a message and then woof, it's off the screen. So you have to be aware of that, and you have to be ready to talk to people. And I think, playing the games that require insane amounts of attention doesn't help that scenario. You miss out on a lot. Or I know for me, when I've gone into some small channels before to kind of try to network a little bit, if I type in a message like, hey, how's it going? And 3 minutes goes by and I don't get a response, I usually leave. And sometimes if they are playing a game like Call of Duty or something like that, which I get requires a lot of attention, but I'm there to try to interact with them a little bit, and you can't do that when you're not paying attention to your chat.
Unless the gameplay is that great.
Unless they're insane, which
right, exactly. Unless the gameplay is that great that they've drawn your interest, but far and few between, right? Like that happens far and few between.
Yeah,
way less than I think people think it does.
Yeah, and again, if they're looking for insane gameplay, they're not going to be looking for channels with 4 or 5 viewers.
I've got 20 people that I know that call themselves the GOAT at Call of Duty. You know what I mean? Like, I
can guarantee you none of them are.
Right,
not
exactly.
a single one.
Exactly.
When you can show me you've made like thousands and thousands of dollars from tournaments and stuff like that, then you have the ability to brag about your skills at a video game. But can't say you're the best when you have put a penny in your pocket from it. So
Yep.
Anything else on that one?
No, I'm good on that. Number 3.
I'll take this again. I feel like it's pretty common stuff, but I did the same thing in the beginning. I wish I could go back now. I'm still not doing a great job at it, but don't just focus on Twitch. Like, again, it's sure you want to be a streamer, but to be a really good streamer, I feel like you need to be a content creator, which what that means is you have to be active on all types of social media. And I wish YouTube specifically was one of the ones that I did some stuff in the very early days. I wish I did it a little bit differently. and didn't set my goals so high to where I got burned out trying to do all the videos I was trying to do, and my edits were crap. But I think the content needs to be pushed out on YouTube just as much as what you're doing on Twitch because of the permanence of it. Twitch, you're live for 4 hours. That's the window people can come find you. Where you post a video on YouTube, you can post something, I think even for you a little bit, you've experienced this. You can make a video 8-9 months ago, gets 10 views, but 8-9 months down the road, all of a sudden it starts getting a lot of traction because whatever the topic comes like that, or you've done something to get more eyes on it, and it exists there all the time. So you can get more eyes and more viewership that way. So I just wish that's more active on YouTube.
So I think that's, and we've had our debates back and forth about TikTok, right? And I think that's the downside of TikTok, right? TikTok is virility. If you want to go viral and you want to boom quickly and you can consistently boom, you can consistently stick to the trends, TikTok is a great platform to expand, and TikTok is a great platform to gain some eyes, right? Twitter, same thing. Twitter is a viral platform. I shouldn't say Twitter's a viral platform, but growth on Twitter seems to be viral in nature. If you're not already established on Twitter, growing on Twitter is very hard unless you just happen to get retweeted by somebody that's viral, or you happen to pick up on a topic that's running really well that day. The YouTube is the one platform that I feel like just stays relevant over time, and but the only problem with that is the relevancy changes a lot over time, right? I mean, just like you said, you'll have a video that you'll drop, and it'll be fire. It'll be absolute fire. It'll be the number one search, and the algorithm just loves you, and it's chewing it up, and you're like, great, it's just chewing up you're chewing it up, and you'll turn a week later and it'll just die. But then you'll have another video that's a year old that'll just pop, and it hits the algorithm again. That's the benefit of it. If you have enough content out there, chances are somebody's always going to go searching for it. Right? There's going to be, if you spread microphone content, right? Like what I have, right?
Yeah.
Microphone content. If you pick up enough microphones, chances are somebody's going to search for one of the ones you have. And then if they go to your channel and they look, they might find another one that they were interested in based off of the other ones you have. Things like that, right? They're like, oh, well, I can get some consistency out of it. I think a weird thing about YouTube, and I was actually having this conversation with my son. He was like, Dad, you're a YouTuber. And I'm like, I don't really I don't really consider myself a YouTuber, right? Like when I think of YouTuber, I think of viral videos that are silly, just ridiculous, kind of playing around. Nothing that's like, I don't know. I don't think of like the content that I try to create or the streams that I try to create to be viral in nature per se, right? It's just a different type of content. But have I had a video that's exploded? Yes, I've had like one or two that have just done really well, been done really good in searches, and I guess that's a true statement. But I think it's much harder for somebody who does what have we talked about? Like almost like meme-ish content. Somebody who does meme-ish content, I feel like it's probably way harder for them to stay relevant in the content space.
Yeah, because like everything else, it comes and goes so quick. And I think, I just to add to the YouTube stuff, when we're talking about TikTok and Twitter, where sure, you can blow up on those platforms, but those are also platforms to me that are very much so people scrolling through a feed, and they like something and they move on. They like something and they move on. They're not platforms really, consistently at least, that they say, oh man, this was a funny tweet. Let me go look at this guy's profile and see what else he said. Like, no, nobody really does that. Let's be real. TikTok, sure, maybe once in a while people want to check out your other videos. But YouTube, to me, is the one platform where, sure, you get your suggested videos, but most of the time, you know what you're looking for when you go on YouTube. Sometimes you go down the dark rabbit hole. We've all been there. And so YouTube, too, is the one where, you find a good video from a channel. More than likely, you're going to go click on that channel and see what else they've done. Which to me is why I think YouTube is also the one platform that you can probably rely on the most consistent transfer of viewership from a YouTube channel to Twitch. much more so than TikTok, Twitter, and other things out there. What do you think about that?
I would say, I would say as long as your content is game related, similar? Yeah, I was gonna say as long as your content is similar and that's what your streams are about and things. Because I'll say that I don't believe that. I mean, maybe 10, 15 people have ever come into my chat and said, "Hey, I'm here because I saw your YouTube video." Right? They have been there, right? Yeah. And maybe they came for other reasons, or maybe they did come and they didn't announce themselves or whatever it is, right? But they've been far and few between that have actually come in and said, "Hey, I saw your YouTube video." Right. And I wanted to come over and watch, or, actually join your streams or anything like that. Right. Yeah. So it's a little bit of a different, because my brand is not based around games. Right. But if it were, I think you'd have that effort, and I'd probably see that a little bit more.
Okay. But yeah, fair point. I would say content definitely does help change that factor one way or another.
Again, if you're doing really funny, like if you're doing funny clips or meme-ish content, or you're getting like a 360 no scope and you jump up afterwards and you're like, ah, and you're being lively about it, and that's what your videos are. Yeah. Chances are those people are going to transfer, because they're going to be like, hey, I just watched a 1 minute video of this guy doing something ridiculous. If he can do that for 8 hours, God, this will be the best 8 hours of my life. Right. Chances are you can't do that for 8 hours, but it at least gets them to come, and then they figure out more about what you're about and other things like that. Right.
Create that FOMO, man. They want to catch that next moment, so they want to be there for it all.
Exactly.
That's fair. But do you agree though that on a whole, would you say that YouTube is the platform that can get the most, or do you think that Twitter and TikTok have just as much potential to transfer viewership over to Twitch?
Today, it depends on right now. It really this is going to be interesting to say. Yeah. So today, I think that I still think that TikTok is going to be, or I'm still adapting to the idea that TikTok is going to have some form of requirement for growth for content creators. It's too easy to put clips on there and have them get seen, right? Okay. And I mean that in the effort of exactly like I was just saying, where if you have a 60-second clip and you jump up and you like I did the Phasmophobia one with us. Right? Yeah. Where I scared you in Phasmophobia, and then I rotated the camera to where it was just me laughing, right? Or the camera blew up and it was just me laughing because it had happened, right? Nobody wants to see somebody get scared in Phasmophobia just because they got scared in Phasmophobia, right? They want to see the reaction of the person getting scared, right? Like they don't want to see the gameplay. They want to see the reactions of the people. And the same goes for other games too. If you can relay that on TikTok, and you can create like seriously funny events, not just clips of quick scopes and things like that, I think you'll have a really good opportunity to engage and get some people to come over. I think TikTok is the easiest to go viral on right now, just because of the number of people on it.
Popularity, yeah.
Right. And that's what it is. That's what it is right now. It is the platform to be on, right? It is the platform that everybody's pushing. It is the platform that everybody, the kids today are leveraging TikTok to generate and grow, right? So everybody's there, right? Fair. It's to say, like everybody says, well, Ninja blew up because of Fortnite and all the kids playing it. Yeah, you're right. All the kids were playing Fortnite when Ninja, and those kids are now adults today. Right, but I'm just saying, like the kids don't
play Fortnite.
No, I'm not saying that. But the Ninja originally blew up because of other kids playing Fortnite, kids going to watch his content, right? Yeah. And that same concept applies today. Where are the kids at? Where are they consuming content from? When you have working adults, you're not going to be able to get their full attention. But when you have teenagers and early college students and things like that, you're going to be able to easily grab their attention. at much better times, right? They're going to be the trendsetters. They're going to be the ones that are giving us what the next big thing is, right? So you need to go with the trend.
Okay.
I would lean to say, again, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Right? I've always talked about diversify, and just like we talked about YouTube content, YouTube's not going anywhere, right? Like YouTube's going to be there forever. Twitter's not going anywhere. Twitter's going to be there for a long time. A lot of people are turning off Facebook, but I think Facebook still has some value. I'm not even talking about Facebook gaming. I'm just talking about Facebook in general. With certain age groups and certain demographics, I think Facebook still has some value. LinkedIn is dead.
Not really convicted behind that one.
Yeah, LinkedIn is dead. So Facebook's really weird for me because Facebook's a platform that I probably have the biggest social network because of people that I really know.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, really know, like, not even like me and you, like, I mean, we've met in person and things like that. Like, I mean, for the majority, like because we've met each other within the past year, 99.99% of our interactions have been through gaming or streaming, right? There's a lot of people that I feel like I know, but they live in Seattle or they live in California or they live in, right? Because I've connected to them through gaming. I've connected to them through Discord. I've connected to them through streaming. So I haven't physically met them. Facebook is majority people that I've physically met, right? So it's a different type of social network to me. So anytime I post anything gaming related on that social network, it just feels weird, right? Because those are people that I've never, like, a lot of times I don't talk about gaming when I go out in public, right? Like I'm
part of who you are, isn't it?
It is, and it is. It is, and it isn't. No, I'm not ashamed of being a gamer. Like, if people want to talk about it, I'll talk about it. But like, I'm not one of those people that's the only thing I talk about, right? Like, I have cars and I have all the other stuff. It's just a piece of my culture. So like, a big part of my social network is actually around racing still, right? So it's kind of one of those, like, I just don't talk about gaming. So when I post gaming stuff to my racing friends, it's just kind of like that weird transition. And I think that's what Facebook is. It's a different social network. It's a different group of people that you don't leverage it like that. Like, it's old high school buddies and old college friends and coworkers and things like that. It's just a different group of people.
Same time, though, don't you think, try to leverage any opportunity you can get? We always talk about eyes on the content any way we can. But I see what you're saying a little bit. I mean, I tried. I don't have any really huge connection on Facebook, but my family and friends don't care too much of the world about my gaming life. All my gaming friends already know I do this, so
they're already connected. Yeah, they're already connected that way. Exactly.
Yeah, so that's what you're saying a little bit, but I also don't think it hurts to test the waters a little bit here and there once in a while.
I think that's again going back to the idea of multi-streaming. Right, going back to that idea of connecting in that other way and multi-streaming in that way, I think that you really could, try to draw in some of those individuals, and still connect to those different cultures and those different chats. I don't think, I don't think there's any value in streaming to Facebook gaming one day, streaming to Twitch another, streaming to YouTube gaming another, right? Like, I don't feel like there's any value in doing that and spreading your content out that way. But if you did one day a week where it was like multi-stream day or something like that, but then you streamed on Twitch every other day, I think that's a really good way to, connect with those individuals. I did multi-stream before I was affiliate for a little while. Yeah. And it went well. Like, I never had any issues. I had a good chat widget. So that way I could communicate everybody. Everybody could see chat. Everybody could see chat kind of connected together. But I did have a few from Facebook regularly join those streams, and it worked. But it was always, actually, I think the majority of them joined from Facebook because they saw that I happened to be streaming there. But I think but that was more when, like, your profile was, it said, like, on your profile you were live streaming. Now you have YouTube gaming, or not YouTube gaming, you have Facebook gaming. So I don't know that those are connected anymore or how that works. Okay. I've thought about going back to look at it again, but again, with the affiliate status, I don't want to multi-stream anymore. So,
yeah, right. Yeah, one thing to think about. Yeah, because you definitely throw some racing games into your content once in a while. See how that goes. You never know.
Well, that's actually what I used to play. I used to play what was it? What was the rally racing game?
Dirt.
Yeah, I played Dirt 2. Played Dirt 2. That's what I was playing on Facebook.
Nice. What are they up to now? 5? Dirt 5?
No, it's Dirt 2. Dirt 2 is the
Okay.
newest one, yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
So that was number 3.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we covered every piece of it.
So number 4 is going to be a tough one, and this is going to sound kind of brutal. It might sound bad, it might sound mean, it might sound angry, it might sound whatever, but this is going to be my thing that I'm going to say to everybody, because we talk so much about every view counts. Yeah. I want to emphasize this, because we talk so much about every view counts for a small streamer. I want to say, don't be afraid to ban a bad viewer. I really wish I would have known this when I first started streaming, because there were so many times that I would have 3-4 viewers and I would allow, like I'd have a troll come in, that 5th viewer would come in and be a troll, and they would really just drive conversation in a really awkward direction. And I'd be like, yeah, but it's not necessarily TOS. It's not necessarily bad. It's not necessarily, but it's just awkward, right? It's just weird, and it's not the direction you want your content to go. It's nothing that you want your content to be related to. It has nothing to do with your stream. And it's just an awkward conversation. And next thing I know, my view count goes down to like 1. Right? Because it does. It makes it awkward and it scares people off. And you are much better off. If you have a viewer that is drawing your conversation to be awkward and causing your content to just not feel right, and it's just making you feel uncomfortable, just ban them. Don't even think about it. Get them out of the stream. You'll feel better being on camera. You'll feel better. The rest of the stream will continue to go well. And if anybody's like, hey, why'd you ban my friend? I'll be like, look, they were making the conversation awkward. I have a no tolerance policy on that. They can submit an unban request, and I'll look at it in the future, right? Like, you have the ability to go in, you have the ability to submit an unban request. Let them do that, and then deal with that later. Like, I don't even deal with timeouts that much anymore. Like, obviously there's like a slip of the tongue, or somebody writes something they shouldn't have, and they're like, hey, I didn't mean to say that, or like I wrote that word wrong or something, and then you time out them just to get the chat deleted, or what, the text deleted or something. But for sure. There's a few situations, or there's fun timeout situations where you want to time out somebody just to be silly, right, or whatever. But no, just don't even deal with it. Don't let a bad viewer ruin your stream. Just ban them. Get them gone.
That is a great topic, because that's actually something that I've been reading the Twitch subreddit a lot lately, and that's something that I see quite regularly these days, is people asking how to deal with, somebody who's making things a little weird, a little uncomfortable. Sometimes it's, hey, my friend comes in my stream and they're kind of being weird about stuff. I don't want to ruin our friendship. And it's like, you're not ruining their friendship. And first off, what kind of friend is coming in and ruin your content? Like, the one thing you have to remember, sure, we're streaming for views, and to do that, you need viewers. But it's still your stream. This is your space. This is your show. You don't let other people run it or make you feel like you don't have complete control. So the moment anything goes, the way you don't want it to, 100% you are fully within your right to ban somebody. And I would say there's no half measures there. You get them out and you move on. Because like Q said, is if you start to feel weird, that's going to reflect in your content. It's going to reflect in your conversation with other viewers. Somebody was just saying other viewers, too, aren't always going to speak up. If anybody else is making them feel weird, they'll just leave and find somebody else.
Yep, exactly.
So the quicker you can bite that problem in the butt, the better off you are going to be, and the better off the rest of your community is going to be as well.
Yep, totally agree. I mean, that right there. Yeah, that right there is probably one of the biggest things I would have learned. And I'm not saying it would have totally changed my streams today, right? Like, but there are several times that I can recall streaming that you did have that one weird person, and you're like, even if you went through and you're like, hey, that's uncultured, right? Like, let's keep it mellow, right? Don't say that or whatever. And Even if you go to that point, right? And they do it again, and they do it again, and they're like, "Hey man, come on, hey man, come," like whatever. No, just get it gone. Just get it gone. Put a set of chat rules on there, right? Like do your chat rules or whatever it is. Update that, make it real, and be serious about your chat rules. Be very serious. New viewers have to click that and hit OK to your chat rules every time they come into the stream, for first-time chatters or things like that, and they know what your rules are. If you want to make a panel for chat rules, do that, right? So that way it's clearly known, people are aware of what your expectations are, and then chop it. Like don't even worry about it. Don't fret. It's one viewer.
Yeah.
Right? Like one viewer is not going to make or break. One viewer is not going to make your stream, but it has every potential to break it if it's a bad one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when you think about it too in terms of, say you're pushing for affiliate in the early days, and this person is that third or fourth viewer, so you don't necessarily want to get rid of them, but getting them out and going down to that 3 or 2 is better than that one person becoming your only viewer because they scared everybody else off.
True. Yeah.
And to go along with the rules, if you're going to set rules, you got to enforce them. It makes it real easy if anybody asks why you banned that guy. Well, rule number 2 says don't disrespect other people. He disrespected someone, so he's gone. And I would say, too, that this even extends to your Discord, stuff like that as well. You're going to set defined rules for what you want to take place in your Discord. And the same thing, if you have somebody in there, which I unfortunately didn't enforce things as well as I should have in the early days of my Discord, it's the same thing. If anybody's making other people feel uncomfortable or does something that you just don't want to see in there, no warnings. Just get them out. There's always going to be, again, like you said, it's one person. There's always going to be more people coming by.
Yep. So. Yep. Yeah. And it only takes one situation where you're not in control to have an opportunity to get your whole channel banned, right? If you do something wrong, right? Small affiliates, small channels don't get the eyes as much about, or don't get the eyes as strictly, as stringently as, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but they don't get as many eyes on them from the Twitch leadership or from the Twitch banhammer squad or whatever you want to call them, right? But as soon as a troll is there, gets a reaction out of you, you don't take care of it, they're going to clip it, they're going to post it somewhere, and they're going to get you in trouble, right? And that's their goal. That's their effort. That's the only reason they're there, is to find a way to either get you in trouble or humiliate you. Don't let it happen, right? Like, take care of it in advance.
Exactly. Be a step ahead. Be prepared for it. That's definitely something I thought I was prepared for, but I really wasn't, Like, sure, I could ignore stuff, but it was a matter, too, of eliminating the problem rather than just ignoring it, or two very different things.
Number 5's on you.
Let's see. I might ask for assistance. I'm trying to think. Schedule, other content. I don't know. You start with one. Maybe something will come to me while I think about it. I'm looking around my room like something's going to jump out at me. Like, oh, I wish I had you when I started.
So I would say, stop being so obsessed with gear. Stop being so obsessed with gear. The one thing, the one thing, and that actually wasn't what I was going to say, but you talking about looking around your room and saying, I wish I would have had you, made me think of that. Stop being so obsessed with your gear. Your gear will come in time, right? Like, I'm still streaming on Logitech cameras, right? Like, and you can build a good production quality stream without needing tons of gear. I would have no problem going back to my $50 Mayano microphone and using that if I wanted to, right? Like, it's very fortunate to get nice gear, and it's very fortunate to be able to do really cool things with your content, stream decks and lights and all that other kind of stuff, but it's not necessary, especially for smaller channels. We've talked about how Nick Merckx' camera is a piece of crap, like it really is. The way he sets up his camera is terrible. He uses a headset mic still. Like, these are things that these people have become famous without needing it. And granted, it's much harder today to do that, but you have time, right? Let your community love on you a little bit, and let them help fund your gear. Don't feel like you need to go drop $2,000 on gear and go into debt and freak out about it, right? Don't think you need the latest and greatest PC. Having a nice one is great. And when you can afford to do it, great. Sure, but until you can do it, right? Don't freak out about it. Don't feel like you're less competent as a streamer because of that. I think it is much more generally accepted. It's way more accepted to have a crappy camera and have a crappy mic on Twitch than it is like on YouTube, right? If you're going to go into YouTube and you're going to have crappy audio, people are going to turn you off immediately. Like they just are. They just are. Unless you're the only channel that has like the thing they're looking for, they're going to turn you off and they're going to search 100 other videos until they circle back to you because maybe you were the only video that had it, right? They're going to look all over the place to try to avoid your crappy audio. If they can't see what you're doing and you're shaking your camera and it just looks bad, they're going to turn you off on YouTube. Twitch isn't like that. It just isn't like that. It's a completely different culture. It's a completely different level of expectations. Now, when you have a super high level production stream, I think it stands out. But I don't think it's necessarily 100% required in order to make yourself a good streamer.
Yeah, no, I think this was actually one of their points as well. Harris and Ludwig were talking about this, where 100%, if you have the mentality that like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna become a better streamer or my content will get better when my gear gets better. There is no connection to that whatsoever. It doesn't work that way at all. It's you. It's you that they're going to come back for at the end of the day. Especially like this goes to what I was just talking about with what the viewers are looking for when they're finding you, that smaller channel with 4, 5, 10 people. They're not there for crazy production quality. They're there to try to engage with who you are. And who you are is not your camera. It's not your microphone. It's not, it's not your mouse or your keyboard. It's just you. So you can have the jankiest setup and still make it work. The good gear doesn't make you a good streamer.
There you go. That's I think that's the right way to do it. Like you need to be a good streamer or have a way to be able to connect with your audience and show them that you're a person that they should be interested in watching. Right? Before you worry about all the money you need to spend on equipment and everything else.
1000% agree. Yeah. See, that's what I was looking for when I was looking around.
That is exactly.
That's why I didn't find it, because none of that matters. Sure, it's nice to have, but it's not necessary. I do think you need a camera. And there's lots of cheap options. Again, I'm not saying it's a must-have, but I think it just increases your odds a lot more. Again, trying to connect with somebody, it's a lot easier to do so when you can see their reactions to things.
I think one of the biggest benefits today, and I'm still waiting for the Android version, but the Elgato camera software for iPhone, it is freaking phenomenal. It is. Yeah. It's a USB connection signal that uses the iPhone camera as a webcam. It is one of the best cameras I've seen in a long time, and we all know that the iPhone has a fairly good camera, right? And the software behind it makes the camera pretty darn good. And oh yeah, smartphone cameras are light years ahead of these Logitech cameras. I mean, they really are. And if it weren't for latency, I'd be using my smartphone all the time. But for Android, still we have latency issues, and once they overcome that, oh my gosh, it'll be a huge thing. I think we'll see a huge change in the production quality of like, or the need for big DSLRs and these fancy cameras when they finally break that threshold for Android apps.
Yeah, no, I'm hoping there's a group somewhere in a Google office, I guess at home, talking to each other with the world we live in today. I would love to see if they come together with something, because
Elgato's designing it. I've talked to Elgato about. I've talked to Elgato about it. It sounds kind of crazy when I say it like that, but yeah, I talked to Elgato about it, and because I was commenting on their iPhone app, somebody was talking about cameras, etc., and I was talking about the iPhone app, and I said, yeah, I mean this is a phenomenal app. It's one of the best. It's one of the best. Like it basically blows out any webcam you can get today. The color quality and everything is just absolutely phenomenal for the iPhone. You can get an iPhone 5 for $20 on eBay or something like that, and throw this app on it, and you're good to go, right? Like, you don't even have to have an iPhone 11 or anything, right? It doesn't have to be the brand new thing. But and I said, but my biggest complaint about it is the fact that Elgato has not invested in an Android version of the app, and Elgato actually responded, saying that it's got everything to do with the way Android. It's got everything to do with the way that Android handles operating systems.
Yeah, well, that's why I was saying Google needs to work on it. It's their platform.
I know. I know.
If anybody's going to crack the code, it's the people who built the software. So.
Elgato's comment was, it's not that they can't release the app for like the Galaxy S20, right? But if they release it for the S20, they have to making it backwards compatible for the S7 and older OSs and older firmwares and et cetera, right? It's where the issue. Whereas iPhone, the one big benefit to iPhone that I've always said is that they require everybody to upgrade. It's the most frustrating thing. It's the most frustrating thing I have about them, because they force everybody to be on the same platform all the time. But it's also the best, because when you're developing an app, you only have to design it to one set of specifications, because everything requires to use that.
Fair. I'm not going to say anything personally. I don't like to give compliments to Apple, but I'll let you handle that in this scenario. But I think one more thing to talk about, too, when we're talking about gear, it's also just, sure, your setup doesn't have to be fantastic, but also be aware of what you're working with. And plan accordingly. If you don't have the greatest computer and the greatest internet connection, you probably need to avoid lots of like high quality graphic games with fast motion, because it's not going to look good. And I don't care, camera, audio, all that kind of stuff. If somebody's logging onto your stream and they're just watching a pixelated mess, that for sure is going to have somebody, click away real fast.
Sure.
So just also be aware of your limitations and work within that.
100%. That is a really, really, really true. And watch other people's content and watch how other people use their setups. If you know somebody else that's using a Logic camera, for me, for example, right? If you know that I'm using a Logic camera, like, ask them. I'm totally down with, not totally down with, but I'm totally fine with giving people the specs that I use for my camera and how I have it set up. Because, I know a lot of people use them, and there's some people who will have their Logitech camera right in front of their monitor, and you can see just enough of their face. And that's fine. That's fine for most people. But if you want to have a connected environment, and you want to have, wider angles and things like that, learn how to use your equipment to the best. When you can tell yourself, this was always my statement for people that were starting out, since this is what this is about, right? For my people that were just starting out, and they're like, oh, well, I need this, I need a Blue Yeti over Snowball, or I need this over my headset mic, or I need, this camera because I need a DSLR because I only have a Logitech camera. Whatever the question was, whatever the statement was, it was always like, until you can no longer get better, until you've done everything you can to make the best possible content you can with the equipment you have. You've done all of your, compression tests. You've done all of your equalizer tests. You've done all of your, you've messed with your gain settings. You've done everything you can to trick your computer to making you feel like you have the best equipment. Then you need to upgrade. Like, when you have maxed out the capability of your current, like, I don't think I can make my Logitech camera look any better. I just don't think I can. I've tried. I've done, every time I do something, it makes it worse. So I'm like, okay, that's where I'm at right now. And honestly, I'm totally fine with it. But, if I want to upgrade, like, that's the thing to upgrade. I think I still have so much to do with microphones, and I think I could still do some really cool stuff with the way I have these set up. So I'm not looking at upgrading, my audio equipment yet, because I don't need to, I don't feel like, right? Like, I haven't even maximized what I have. Yeah. So don't, right? Like, don't upgrade until you've really just capped and you've hit that plateau, and you're like, I can't get any better unless I have this piece of upgrade or this piece of equipment.
Squeeze every last drop out of what you got. Make it work for you.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, no, that's I agree 100%. That's pretty good list of 5, I'd say.
That is our list of 5, guys. That is our the items that we're going to talk about this week. If you agree with us, for those of you that are checking this out on YouTube later, if you agree with us, make sure to post it down in the comments. If you disagree with us, definitely let me know, because I want to tell you why you're wrong and mine are the best, because that's exactly what it is. There is no debate. There is no topic. My 5 are the best 5. I don't even care about Dusty's at this point, even though he contributed some. I stole them. They're mine now.
All yours. All yours. No, yeah. Now we just gotta hop in the time machine and start over. Start the streaming.
Yeah, start the cruise. Yeah, that's exactly. If I were hopping in a time machine, I'd go back to, what was it, 2017 and start streaming, or 2015 and start streaming, or something like that. That's where I would take all my gear with me. I'd even take my 1080 Ti all the way back that far. You couldn't take your 30. You couldn't take your 30 series. It didn't exist yet.
That's fine. But yeah, we'd be running the show, man. We had all this information back then. Instead, we're just old guys doing this. Oh well.
It's all right.
Fun.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I think that is going to be the tail end of the conversation this week. I want to thank you all for chiming in with us, listening to us kind of rant and rave and give our ideas on what we think the best 5 things we wish we would have known before we had started streaming. Other than that, not much left to say this week. What do you got? You got anything to close us out with here, Dusty?
Thank you to all the lovely Patreon supporters out there.
Yeah, that's true.
Game Hopper, you guys are all lovely members of the family.
I'm terrible about that. I'm terrible about that. I always forget. I need to do that. We need to do that at the beginning. That's next week. We're doing the patrons at the beginning.
Fair enough.
That's what's going to happen. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much. For those of you that are checking us out live, we appreciate every one of you. For those of you that watch it after the fact, we appreciate you just as much. Don't think that you guys aren't just as special. For those of you that are listening to the podcast through Anchor, Spotify, Cloudcast, Google Podcasts, all the other ones that it's connected to, I can't even remember. They're all out there. They're all out there. There's so many podcast apps nowadays. Thank you so much for listening in. We will check you guys next week.
See ya!
Dude, I was having some crazy bitrate issues there for a little while.
Yeah, you had a couple weird Discord moments.
Did I really?
Yeah.
You had like one. Yeah, you had like one on my end. My bitrate was like, so I have it set to like 5K for YouTube, right?
Okay.
And it went to like, oh, I forgot to hit stop stream. Hey, YouTube, we're still here. Forgot to hit stop stream for YouTube. Good night, YouTube. We're talking about you. We love you all. Thank you so much. Have a good night, guys.
Nick, we'll get to your question in 1 sec, I promise.